We love having Dorothy on with us because she gets to share uh, her incredible knowledge, and we get to play with so many different aspects of life.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that Dorothy is known for is the work that she does with women and helping them recognize their power. So, Dorothy, this is a time of change for so many people.
Right.
You know, we had the COVID, and we had people changing jobs, people deciding that they didn't like their lives. So a lot of people made decisions to do things differently. So, in what you do, because you coach women,
Right.
what's the advice, and what have you seen as a trend coming out of COVID?
There's been a number actually. One of them is COVID's changed the lives of most everybody. All of those who on the speaking circuit used to travel and speak and get to know clients, get to potential clients, get to have their message out there have been at home. Those opportunities have closed down. And what I've also seen is isolation has impacted people differently. Those who were single without anybody in their lives have been at home isolated for so long that now there's that tendency to try to come back out again, try to meet people, try to spend time, as you and I are doing, try to spend time with people you love and haven't seen in forever, it feels, getting together. But when it comes to going forward with their lives, so much of what folks thought they had planned and they had a defined way of doing it, because it's been thrown out the window, it's really all about regrouping and shifting and changing. As you know, it's as much about who do you want to be as it is about what do you want to do. So more and more women are looking at who do they want to be as they've been forced to shift and change how they operate, how they work at home, how they work with their families, how they work with their careers. So transition is an understatement. And my belief is always that it's for a greater good, that there's a reason all of this takes place. And so it's looking at what is the greater good we're going to get out of this as women, and what are we going to do with it? Because many of the women I'm working with right now are looking at, it's not working. How I used to do it isn't working. Either their businesses are making less money, or they are approaching their businesses differently, or they don't know if they like their businesses anymore. Because as we grow and we change, either a company has to grow and change with us, or we outgrow it and we have to look and see where we want to go in the next step in the journey. Lots of transition and change.
So now, where do you start? When you have a woman that you mentioned an example earlier about looking at your life. Can we talk about that?
Well, we spoke about so much. I don't know which one in particular you were thinking of.
Where you have your life here,
Oh,
and you're
yes.
here.
All
yes.
right. That if you can imagine where you're sitting right now, that is this embodied soul, this embodied essence. That is who you are in this journey, or many other journeys if you believe in such. But this is the essence of who you are. Way over there in the far side of the room is the life you created. All of that over there on the far side of the room, or your past lovers, your past friends, careers, jobs you may have had, homes you may have lived in, schools you may have gone to. All of that is a part of the life you've created. And the life you created, when you just think about it logically, you have got to be so much greater than the life you've created, because you had the strength and the ability to create that life. That's way over there on the other side of the room. And my experience with so many women is that they forget that there is them here in this chair, and over there is the life they created, and they get lost in their lives. They get lost in their responsibilities. They get lost in their obligations, and they get lost in all the shoulds that they have created and perpetuated throughout their lives. And so frequently when they call me up, it's because they're confused. They don't know what happened. Where did I get lost? Where did I disappear? Starting out with, I don't know what I feel, I don't know what I think, I don't know what I want. because somehow they got so busy living their life, they forgot that they were the major part of it.
Very true. So what do you tell people? Because I noticed that adults forgot how to dream.
Oh my God, yes. I truly believe the way our soul speaks to us is one, through our bodies for healthcare, because our soul is always talking to us through our bodies, and this is wrong. What's the significance of this? What's going on with this? Simultaneously, our soul also speaks to us through the dreams we have. You know, those dreams we have for our lives come from our soul. It's our way of having our soul call us to the next step in our journey. And when you take time for meditation or mindfulness or reflection, whatever you want to call it, when you take time for that, and in the silence, you reconnect with you, you begin to remember all that you forgot about you. And when you get in touch with that, you can see, what is the dream? What dreams have you outgrown? What is the dream now? What is that passion, that vibrancy, that aliveness you feel in your belly, you feel in your heart? What is it that's calling you to the next place? And our dreams don't come from our head. Our head is a marvelous asset. But the dream comes from the soul saying to you, go to this next adventure, go to this next dream, and become the woman who needs to live that dream. Because if your dream is right here and this is where you are, and you find this dream, this woman can't live it. So you have to grow and become the woman that, or man that can live that dream. You have to become the individual who has the strength, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the skill set to live that dream. So every dream we have that our soul calls us to is really a step to further growth. I mean, it's a step to become who you're meant to be. My very first book that's the title. Dreams are the beginning of who you are meant to be. You know, following our dreams takes us to where we're supposed to be living our life, because everything in us knows it's the right place to go. It's the right next step. But we don't hear that in the midst of chaos. We have that understanding that comes about in the midst of the silence. So it's having permission, which for some women is very difficult, taking permission to do that self-care on a daily basis, to do that reflection.
What are your thoughts on energy, vibration? Because this is, I see a lot of this more recently about where people are, again, as you said, looking at their lives and not being in that moment with themselves. So what are some of your thoughts on energetically shifting?
You know my bias on this one. I think energy is everything. I think energy, it's just physics, the physics of energy. It's who we are. And energy, everything begins energetically. It begins energetically. If you have a dream, it begins at an energetic level. You start feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. You start feeling uncomfortable with where you are in your life. You may not know where you're called to, but you know you've begun to outgrow where you are. And we can either ignore that energy because we know it means we'd have to change, or we trust that energy that says this doesn't fit anymore. It doesn't mean immediately walk out the door, but it does mean it's time to catch up. If you've outgrown where you are, where is it you're called to go? So that is really an energetic shift that takes place when you sit with it and you do meditation. That energetic shift as you sit in your body and become comfortable, again, for many of us coming back to listening to our body, when you come back and you can feel the discomfort, that energy leads to a spiritual awareness. And that's a spiritual calling, which then leads to an emotional shift. And in that emotional shift, you realize, my passion is starting to come alive. My vibrancy is starting to come alive. I'm starting to remember the me I used to fall in love with. I'm starting to feel, yes, this is uncomfortable, but there's an excitement as much as a fear about where you're going. And then physically, you begin to change, because that passion, that vibrancy really takes you out of survival mode. It strengthens the immune system. It doesn't call you to live from the adrenals, but it calls you to pick up a passionate energy from the base of your body that calls you to keep moving forward. And when you do that, all of a sudden you feel the vibrancy, you feel the aliveness, and your body functions better, your health improves. So many things happen that change how you're living on the planet. Energy just is, when we can learn to recognize our energy, we know when we're stuck. We know when we're in pain, physically or emotionally or spiritually. We know when passion is starting to rise again, which says it's time for another change in my life, whatever that is. That's a great place to be.
Cool.